All right.
Well, welcome back once again, 2021. We're talking about a lot of things. We're talking about freedom. We're talking about safety of the people in general, and not just the people of our town, not just the people of our country, but really the people of the world in this case.
Yes.
We're being presented right now with a lot of things. One of them being a vaccination, and and it's coming across in a lot of ways. Right now, it seems to be voluntary for the people that want it. They seem to be prioritizing it for people that may need it, whether you're elderly or at risk. But then there's talk of people making it mandatory.
Yeah.
And that's where things start to get a little dicey for me when we're told we have to do certain things for our own good. So you brought up a really interesting code. It's called the Nuremberg Code.
Yeah.
And it came, from my understanding, from the Nuremberg trials after World War II. When the Nazi army and scientists were performing a lot of crazy experiments on humans.
Yes.
Right? So let's talk a little bit about that. So the Nuremberg Code, from what I read, is a good thing.
Absolutely.
And what does it consist of?
It's 10 rules basically for carrying out medical experiments. And so it's number one, you must have the patient's consent, the participants' consent.
So they have to be willing.
They have to be willing, and they can leave at any time. It has to be proven on animals. There has to be X amount of time on animal testing first.
Right.
There has to be, provable evidence that there's a good outcome from it. There's all these different things that are just they're not even being considered right now for this vaccine.
Credible and qualified.
So,
credible and qualified doctors are another part of the code. And it also says that in the code, the one part I read was that if things are going badly, then the doctor or doctors in charge of it need to be able to stop it and say, let's put a halt to this experiment. So my concern coming up here with the vaccination is that it was done in a very short time, which in some eyes is a good thing, big problem, quick solution. But usually these vaccinations come with anywhere from 5 to 10 years of experiments and tests done.
Yeah.
A lot of that being done on animals to make sure that there aren't side effects and that they've worked out the bugs.
Yes.
And now we're coming to a point where we're seeing some adverse effects. Maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the effects we're seeing from the first people that have taken the vaccination.
Yeah, I mean, there's been several. I saw a nurse, I believe in Nashville, who half her face went dead.
Bell's palsy.
Bell's palsy. So,
paralyzed.
And that's what I think I was like 3 days after or something.
I've seen about 5 cases of myself, 5 different pictures of people, and a few videos too of that.
Bell's, yeah.
Of Bell's palsy.
So, and then, one lady, she was a nurse up there on the podium, getting it, talking about, this and that. It's so great. And then collapses. She just faints right there on TV. Mm-hmm. Crazy stuff, and then so it's like, what the hell happened there? She put out a story later saying, oh no, this is normal. In the last 6 weeks, I've fainted 6 times, and it happens whenever I see a needle, I faint.
It's totally kind of crazy they would choose her to be the show pony, the person on camera.
And so I heard that she passed also days later.
I've heard both things, that she passed away and that she didn't, and I don't know what to believe.
I don't know either. Yeah. So there's that, and then I heard of a doctor who took it. They're making medical staff take it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's take this or resign type thing or what, but we'll get into that. But yeah, doctors, nurses, they're having effects. They're going to social media, trying to warn the people, and that's it. There's just, as it goes to your state, everyone lines up to go take it. So
So are bad things going to happen to everybody? I don't know. Nobody knows that. But that's the problem, is that it didn't have the years to be tested. And there are side effects happening that may have been fleshed out if it had a few years to be tested.
Right.
And let's go to the first point, though. The first point is consent. So if you're being told you have to take this brand new vaccination to work, Is that consent?
I would say that the employer is then guilty of violating the Nuremberg Code, and legal action should follow from that. Whatever that means, whatever appropriate legal action that has been outlined and defined by several different countries on medical experimentation, that company, there must be legislation moved forward because it's already there. It's all written out.
Well, one of the things,
and this is a simple, high vision type of application,
right?
That's nowhere even in the stream of, the debate at all. So I'm like, I trip out on this because, things come to me, ideas and stuff, but it comes all fumbled up, and I try to get it out, but it's just like, man, like Dr. Drew yesterday or 2 days ago, he said, yeah, we are in a large scale experiment. He said that on his podcast.
I don't like that.
I posted that.
I don't like how that feels.
I posted it up, and he goes, yeah, as we give out more, there's going to be more and more side effects. Yeah, these things happen. Just casually going over it, like, yeah, totally normal, keep moving. No, Dr. Drew, how are these things going on right now, knowing that we have a Nuremberg Code that multiple countries signed on to, said you are not to do human experimentation unless these things were met. Okay, have they been met?
No.
So it's like
most of them have not been met.
Okay, so what are we doing? How are these questions not in the mainstream?
Yeah, and that's crazy because that was put in place after World War II because of the crimes against humanity, really, that were taken by the Nazi, establishment. They were put in place so that all of us humans across the world, not just in any one country, but across the world, have safe guidelines for humanity, so that we're not just being tested on like they were doing, in these Nazi camps, right?
Yeah.
So number one is consent, which that speaks to our right and our freedom and our liberty right there. We all need to be able to give consent to be part of a trial.
Yes.
Number two, it should be it should be for the greater good. And I think a lot of people can argue that the development of a vaccine is for the greater good. But again, you have to consent. And what I kind of wonder about is the many people that are in the Democratic Party, especially on the topic of abortion, have said, "My body, my choice."
Right.
My body, my choice, right? And I agree with that 100%. It is your body and it is your choice. But now if we're being forced to get a vaccination, then it no longer exists. That what happened to my body, my choice?
Yeah. Now it's your body, my choice.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And that's brought on by fear. So what I'm really concerned about now is that they brought in fear as a virtue. So in the past, if you were a stand-up person that stood up for your rights, it was good. Now, because of the fear-mongering that has happened, a person that is not wearing a mask and not wanting to get a vaccination is considered a threat.
Domestic terrorist.
Right? They're considered.
There's a place for them.
But and where is it?
There's a place for them.
Where is it?
It's on the table in New York.
It's a camp.
It's a camp.
Yeah, so
that's where this leads.
It freaks me out to see that kind of thing happen, right? There's no my body, my choice, and people are willing to push something on everyone for the better. So it's a strip away your rights, strip away your choice of whether or not you want to receive a vaccination or not.
Yeah.
And do it regardless of the side effects that you're seeing right now and the fact that it's a roll of the dice. You may end up getting your face paralyzed or worse. It might be your ticket out of here. Nuremberg is an important, the Nuremberg trials and the Nuremberg Code is an important part of humanity's existence and freedom.
Yeah.
And it needs to stay that way, and it needs to be utilized.
It needs to get pushed to the front of the conversation across all of everything. I mean, we've gone through this before. Nothing that's being played out is new. These are ancient games.
Machiavellian politics.
Real shit, dude.
And strategy.
And it maybe has a different name, different thing, but it's the same playbook.
Right.
It's the same playbook running itself through.
9/11, they take away your privacy. 2020, 2021, they take away your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And possibly your choice to do what you want with your body.
Dude. So they're moving in on us. This is a hostile takeover. We have to get out of all talk of the flu, the pandemic, this and that. It's all trivial because what's happening is a hostile takeover.
Right.
And you have to get prepared, have a militant mindset, and be ready to fight or just
At least
obey.
people don't give up your freedoms just like that. At least be willing to protect your own freedoms no matter what party you're privy to. Protect your freedoms as a human, not even an American, as a human being, to be free and to choose what you want for your body and to keep your voice as an individual.
It's pretty basic freedoms, you know? So yeah, we have to all tune in, but
Get with it or bow down.
that's it.
And I don't bow. Not really good at bowing.